I was going to take my clothes off for somebody. might as well pay my rent with it.
Right.
Welcome to the On the Edge podcast with your host, Scott Groves. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a not safe for work podcast. We've got my new friend Lacey here. So if you've got kids or family, whatever it is, just go ahead and turn it off and switch to the next episode. But Lacey and I are going to start this off taking a shot here.
Oh my God. Okay, let's do it.
Oh yeah, this
whiskey I've never heard about.
Yeah, so this is Hocking Hills bourbon, straight from the Hocking Hills of Ohio. And one of my clients sent this to me as a gift because I did him a favor. And supposedly it's good, but I don't drink bourbon, so
me either.
Cheers,
Every so often, but let's do it.
See what's going on.
Oh,
I'm a fan.
That was smooth.
I'm a fan. Yeah.
Wow, I was expecting that to be harsher than it was.
Yeah. Usually when I take a shot, I'm like, it's just not my thing. A lot of bad experiences in the Army, but that is really good. I feel like I'd actually sip that with a couple, maybe a couple ice cubes or something. All right.
I would too. My friends like to say I have the ugliest shot face, but I think I was pretty good with that.
No, that was solid.
Yeah.
Hocking Hills Bourbon. Shout out to them. They're not a sponsor, but they might hate us after this podcast, but I had to bring them up. Shout out to John for getting me that. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so.
Got me feeling all warm right now.
There we go. So let's just jump in. So
yes.
Lacey works for a solar company. She's a salesperson,
I
but
do.
That's not why we're interviewing her.
No.
We're interviewing her because you're friends with my buddy Dante, who we interviewed. By the way, shout out to Dante.
Shout out to Dante.
Club promoter here in Vegas. Gave us the whole inside scoop on our last podcast. So go back and watch that if you hadn't listened. And I'm like, Dante, I need a gal who's kind of in that party club scene, goes to the raves, and makes a living off of OnlyFans. And he's like, I got the girl for you. You got to call my friend Lacey.
Wow.
She's on OnlyFans, but she's not into all the other sketchy stuff that has to go on in Vegas, which maybe we'll get into that because I'm sure you know some people that are.
Yes.
But what is it like being an OnlyFans girl?
Oh my God. I get that question a lot. But I started in the beginning of COVID. So it was just, I always liked taking sexy photos, After a while, I was like, why not get paid for it? But it's powerful in a way, you get to showcase what your mama gave you and get paid for it, and not a lot of girls enjoy doing that. They just, do it for the money and do it for the job. But I feel like I genuinely enjoy feeling sexy, getting dressed up, taking photos, and just pleasing people, I guess. So what is it like being an OnlyFans girl? I don't know. I don't know.
So you said you started at the beginning of COVID. So
yes, I did.
Did this come out of financial necessity, or were you just on lockdown? We were in LA.
Yeah.
We started a podcast because we were on lockdown in LA.
Yeah.
The last thing on my mind was you know what, Chris? We should take naked pictures of Scott, throw him up. Somebody's got to be into a big fat bear.
Right.
He said no, so we started the podcast instead. But was it out of boredom, out of financial necessity, out of intrigue?
It was a little bit of both. So I was working at Facebook at the time. I was a valet driver, and obviously COVID hit and they didn't want us in their cars anymore. So got laid off and just was on Twitter, on Instagram, seeing a whole bunch of girls starting OnlyFans. I'm wanted to get into a little bit more. And I was, like I just said before, why not get paid for the sexy pictures I'm already taking, So that kind of pushed me into doing it, kind of losing my job. And so off of boredom, but also financial as well. First couple of months, I did amazing. It kind of popped off a little bit. So it was definitely in my cards, yeah.
So you said sexy photos you were already taking. Are we talking about sending some some nudes to your boyfriend? Or are we talking about you did modeling, or what was
not so much modeling, but just sexy lingerie pictures, sometimes not even to send to anybody, just for myself, So
girls do this?
We do. Oh my God, of course we do.
Every guy I know, whether they're just shredded and ripped or whether they're carrying an extra 20 pounds like me, they walk by the mirror and they're like, oh yeah. The last thing they want to do is see themselves naked or sexy.
Not every guy, because you see the gym bros all up in the
Okay, well every dude that I know who's not in love with themselves at the gym, that's just not a thing. So all right, so you were already into this kind of empowerment, sexy photos thing.
Yes.
And then what like, what's the jumping off point? I mean, I'm thinking through. I've never been to the site to like register or pay for anybody's sexy photos.
Oh, have you?
So yeah, maybe my wife will let me make an exception for podcast guests. Happily married, by the way. Specifically dug out the wedding ring just for this interview.
I love that.
But like just registering and logging in, like what's the process of verifying that? For one, you look very young. Like you could be 17 or you could be 27.
I know. So the people never know.
And do you have to verify your age on OnlyFans stuff?
You do. When you're in the settings and you're creating your account, yes, you have to verify your age. It's 18 and up. So you have to go through a whole process. It's like 24 to 48 hours till they accept you. It's kind of easy for someone to make an OnlyFans, you know? Okay. So it's an easy process, surprisingly. Okay. Yeah.
So where do you get started? Do you have to have like a whole cache of like photos up there, or do you start with one photo and just hope you find some fans?
Yeah, I mean, so I've had a YouTube ever since I was like 13, 14. So I've been doing YouTube videos for forever. I stopped a little while ago.
Okay.
Like uploading all the time, but I had one for years. And so I already had like a following also on Instagram, also Twitter and stuff. So when I made my OnlyFans, I made a YouTube video about it. And a lot of people from my YouTube channel came to my OnlyFans. So I started getting subscribers right away, right when I made it. So, you know, it's like OnlyFans is kind of for people that have fans, you know, and that want to see more of you. That's how you become successful on it. A lot of people make it that don't really have a following and they expect to make all this money, but it's like, where are your people coming from, you know?
Right.
So, sorry, what was the question again?
No. This is important stuff.
Yeah.
You already had a fan base, right? And it's
I did, yes.
I think a lot of people, they hear the OnlyFans or the taking of the clothes off, which we'll get to that in a while. I'm guessing you're nude in some of those photos, but anyway. Okay, cool. Of course. But like, it's no different than monetizing a podcast or an Instagram audience. Like, I know a personal trainer who's, I won't mention him by name. He's a fucking rock star. Yeah. And he's monetized his Instagram audience because he's amazing looking. He's super buff. He says all the right things. He's really motivational. And now he gets, sponsored ads where he's now monetizing his audience because they're paying him to basically push different products. Now, I think sometimes he's not totally transparent that he's getting paid for that, pushing other products, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
But this is very transactional, right?
Yeah.
People know what they're getting. They know what they're paying.
Definitely.
And what's the pricing model for OnlyFans?
It just depends. So, I mean, every girl is different. Some people have their account set for $3 of subscription. I have mine for $19. Some people have $30. It's
$19 a month?
$19 a month, yes. And like I said, some people have for $3, $6, $10, and a lot of people always have sales. I like to have sales every so often. It gets people, intrigues people to subscribe if you have a sale. But yeah, I mean, every girl's different. Every pricing is different. Same thing with the videos and pictures that you send out. It's whatever you want to charge. You're in charge. You're your own boss, So
I can cancel Disney and Netflix and get nudes of Lacey monthly. Okay. And is it like one of those things where it's billed annually and you get a nice chunk of money up front, or is it like residual revenue where you're just getting a monthly $19.99?
Yeah, so it's a monthly $19.99. Yes. Or you can, I have like a bundle. You can do like 3 months for 50% off, and that's like a better deal. But rarely you'll see someone doing that. It's mostly just monthly. But some people have their renewal on, so they'll be subscribed for months. So that's nice.
All right. So do you have any like insight? Because I'm sure this is a whole world where you're talking to other people that do this and other people that want to get started. Do you have any insight to like what some of the top earners are making in the OnlyFans world?
Oh God. So I've just heard, oh my God. I mean, the famous people like Bella Thorne, Bad Baby, when she made hers, she turned 18, she made $1 million in a day. Wait.
That stuff. Okay. Bad Baby.
Bad Baby.
We're going to have to flash her up.
Cash Me Outside girl.
Oh,
Cash Me Out, Dr. Phil. Yeah.
The Dr. Phil girl made $1 million?
Oh yeah. Well, she became famous. She started making music and stuff like that. And then when she turned 18, she made an OnlyFans, and within a day she made $1 million. It's crazy. And like Bella Thorne, all this stuff, a lot of famous people, they're making millions off this shit, but like regular people like me, maybe a couple thousand every month. I know this one girl in this agency that I know of, don't want to say any names, but she's making like almost $100,000 a month. So these girls are making insane. It's insane. It's insane.
All right.
It's shocking. I'm not even close to that number. That is outrageous, but
like you're paying your bills on this, right?
I am. Yes. It's not my only job, but it's suffices for sure.
All right, so you
it's
have
shocking to me too.
I know, yeah, I can see it in your eyes that you're just as shocked as me. You're like, I was gonna take my clothes off for somebody. Might as well pay my rent with it.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And I have to ask, like, we're obviously on a podcast.
Yeah.
This is not exactly Joe Rogan, so maybe a couple thousand people see it instead of several million.
That's okay.
But like, I'm guessing if you're talking about this openly, like family knows, friends
know. My parents know. Yeah, my friends know. Everybody kind of knows.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody knows. My parents even know. When I first started, I was, how old was I? Oh my God, 20, 21, whatever. But my parents still had access to my bank account, so they would see the money coming in, and I just didn't want them asking questions, so I wanted to tell them before they started asking questions.
Right.
So I was like, I made this website. You guys know I do YouTube. Like, I have a fan base. It's just for people that want to see more of me, so like, just like cool pictures, this and that. Yeah, they could use their imagination. I never really got deep into it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So
I'm sure. I always like to think of like, where is somebody in the audience rolling their eyes right now, right? And for sure, somebody's rolling their eyes. They're like, oh, clearly her parents are divorced. She has daddy issues. She was abused. But like people think about this anytime any woman does anything sexual for a living, right?
Right.
So like, do you have a great family life?
I do, and that's so crazy because I was born. Mom and dad are still together, still married, happily married after 26 years.
Awesome.
Only child, so very taken care of. I was grown. I mean, I grew up very loved and what's the word for it? Oh my God. I mean,
was it more of a conservative family, or your parents hippies who like?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So my dad was in the military.
Okay.
My mom works as like a nurse's assistant and stuff like that. But yeah, I grew up wonderful. I have no complaints. My parents love me. I go visit them every so often. I have no complaints.
So your childhood was not a freak show that led you down this path.
No, it was amazing. And I have no regrets and no complaints about anything. So
because I'm
stuttering a little bit.
No, it's fine. I'm just like a hardcore libertarian. So I'm like, whatever, people do whatever you want. Like even what's weird to me is like people will ask me, especially my more conservative, like Christian conservative friends, they'll be like, okay, well, you're a libertarian. I can get all on board with that except for the prostitution. I'm like, I get it, because that's just like a weird line to cross. And sadly, the prostitution in America, because it's illegal, always seems to be involved with drugs and human trafficking and kidnapping and just really disgusting elements of society. But in principle, if you could do it safe and legally, I would be okay with it. So I'm obviously okay with like people doing OnlyFans, but I think people get real judgment around it of like, there must be drugs and alcohols and broken homes and runaways and stuff like that
to make people want to do that.
To make people want to do that. But you feel empowered.
Yeah,
to do
and
what
I feel
you're doing.
sexy. And like I said before, why not get paid for it? So but I see where it's coming from. And I've heard that a lot too. I get comments every so often like, oh, like she doesn't, daddy issues, like where's her dad? Just stuff like that. And it's like, he's right here at home.
Cashing the check, motherfucker.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So people always think they know everything, but.
All right. So what was your launch like? So like how do you bridge that gap between here's my funny 15-year-old videos of me out at Lake Havasu, awkward. Now these same people who I'm guessing are your age, not just a bunch of creepy old dudes. How did you roll that out where you said, okay, guys, now you can get me naked for $20 a month?
I know. It's definitely, it was a transition, but for a while, like I stopped making, I think like the beauty guru, fashion, makeup videos, like a couple years prior. And then I started getting into the rave scene. So I started posting like vlogs of like me raving and stuff. So I was already like kind of transitioning into like a different person, I feel like. And so when I did drop that video, it wasn't too much of a shock, I guess you can say, because I was already raving. I guess like obviously it's a different scene, but like
But the rave scene's like very sexual, not a whole lot of clothes.
Yeah, so
you see,
I guess it kind of made sense.
You see outfits from Burning Man or EDC. It's not exactly.
You have no
Quakers.
clothes on.
No clothes.
You have no clothes on. Yeah.
So people were already halfway there. So not
That's
a huge surprise.
Yes. Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. I'm trying to think back to when I was in my 20s, which was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And there was let me light that up for you. Again. Yeah. By the way, for those of you not watching on YouTube, Lacey trying her first cigar tonight, and enjoying it, which is pretty cool. I get everybody to smoke, and then I'm a bad influence.
No, stop it. This is good. I'm just like still trying to get the hang of it. I'm trying to see you smoke it.
Yeah, it's just like roll it around your mouth, enjoy the taste. You don't inhale it. And we might need to light it back up.
I don't think I'm doing it's like you have so much smoke, and I'm just like, nothing's coming out.
Yeah. All right, let's go here. We're going to do this. We're going to make this work. We're going to get Lacey to a cigar aficionado style. so that she can go find some new OnlyFans subscribers at the Resort 8's cigar lounge. Okay, so I'm trying to think back when I was in my 20s, and I was like, okay, there were some very attractive girls that I knew, but like crossing the Rubicon to be like, oh yeah, this is an attractive girl that, you know, maybe I had a crush on in high school, or, you know, maybe a teller at the bank who I like kind of like was a little fetishized about. I can't imagine like crossing the Rubicon, putting in my credit card, and now that person knowing like, oh, Scuba Groves 818 is like viewing your new pictures. So do you have insight into who it is that's subscribing, or is it like a one-way mirror? How does that work?
Sometimes, because when you subscribe and you make an account, or when the person makes an account, it's just kind of numbers, like user, the numbers, unless they want to put a profile picture for themselves and they want to change their name. So some people do. And I'm like, okay, this is so-and-so, you know, or it's just random numbers most of the time. So you don't really even know. But a lot of people from my high school subscribed. So that was crazy too.
Okay, so the user can have anonymity. Obviously, you can use a fake name or whatever, but you're you. They got you in all your naked glory. But for the subscriber, they can just be, you know, user 17942, and you'll never have any clue who they are.
And I have no idea.
Or they can change their profile to Scuba Groves or Scott Groves or whatever, and then boom, now you presumably know who that is, or they have an alias, but you've seen their picture and you're like, oh, I know that's that weirdo from like six period chemistry my senior year.
Oh yeah,
who wanted to see me naked.
Oh my god, yes, yeah. Or like my ex best friend's little brother and stuff like that. Yeah, it's gotten crazy.
Okay. All right. So then, what's the interface on OnlyFans? Is it like a one-way mirror where you post and they just see, or is it like a Facebook feed where you can comment and interact with them?
So it's like a Facebook. It's like a naughty Facebook, a naughty Instagram. So people are able to like your photos, comment, and it's just like like a naughty Instagram. You're just like scrolling down, just like the Instagram feed.
Does like user 1794 start fighting with user 5969, saying like she's my girlfriend, and you're like, no, she's my girlfriend?
No, like, sadly, not on my page just yet. But
okay, we're gonna get there. This is such a foreign world to me.
Oh God, I know. It's
all right.
Still crazy to me, and I've been doing it for 3 years now.
Okay, so do you have any idea, or do they let you know that like, hey, I'm just subscribed to you because I have an insight into you, or I want to know more about you?
Yeah.
Or are these like, I mean, I hate to say it, but are these guys like living in their parents' basement, spending $1,000 a month following 35 different OnlyFans girls?
Probably. There's a lot of men like that. Like,
really?
There was this one guy I was messaging, and he was like, oh, well, I wish I could give you more, but so-and-so just drained me. Like, I have no more money in my bank account. Like, I've heard a couple of men that have said that, you know? So I mean,
what do you mean drain me? Because if it's $20 a month, it's $20 a month.
No, I know, but like you can do that, but then you can pay for more things in the DMs, and us women, we charge more for. So like on my feed, you'll just get like sexy lingerie photos, nothing nude. But if you want something more in the DM, that's what I charge more for. So a lot of women, they'll run it up in the DMs, and then the guys will keep paying and paying and paying, and then they're like broke. And and a lot of guys like that. That's where like Findom kind of comes along. Like they want to be drained. They, like take all my money, like call me a bitch, tell me my dick's small. You know what I mean?
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's like Findom, but like that's the type of men that like want to be drained, and probably are the type of men that are in their mom's basement still. So
wait. All right. Hold on.
So it's kind of all over the place with
that
one.
So there's men that want to basically be digitally abused. And their accounts drained and told that they're just a little bitch.
Yes.
Tell them what Findom stands for.
So it's what it actually stands for. You tell me what it actually stands for.
Financial domination.
Yes, I was blanking.
Financial
domination. I can't believe I blinked on that one. Yes.
How is that a real thing?
It's a real thing.
My buddy Michael,
pigs, you know?
My buddy Michael is going to be like so offended. He's like, how is there men out there that just want to be drained?
It's insane. That's what I say. Like, how are men just like this? But
all right.
It turns them on, or like chastity, like they'll get like chastity cages for their dick, and then like the girl controls it through the phone. Like, you're not able to come until I tell you to. Like, it's like, or like, it's.
What?
It's the dominance.
This is blowing my mind. All right, so
you've never heard of this before?
No, this is not my world. I am like, I've been married for 8 years, haven't gone on a date for 9 years. It's
That's
like,
amazing,
this is not my thing.
That's amazing though. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. So I just want to go back to like, I'm picturing the initial feed of like basically Facebook, but with you and a bunch of lingerie.
Yes.
And then some guy who pays you $19.99, he can drop into the DMs and be like, hey, I need you to take a nude picture with a 2-liter bottle of Dr. Pepper because I love Dr. Pepper.
Yes.
And I'll pay you $50 for that, $500 for that. Like what is a request cost?
So it depends what the request is. So I do customs, and if it's a video, depending on what type of video it is, I charge like $25 a minute. And some people like want it like 5-10 minutes. That's a couple hundred right there.
Right.
So it just depends what it is. So for example, if that picture, a nude picture with like Dr. Pepper, maybe like $100, you know, something custom only for you, like $100 ain't that much, you know.
God,
You're gonna spend some money, go big or go home.
Yeah, this is like an NFT project, right? Because it's just individualized to them.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes on the low, I'll send it to somebody else for, you know.
Right.
Really.
Wow.
But yeah.
All right, so
it's interesting.
All right, so you got to tell me like what's a garden variety Lacey request?
Yes.
And then what's like some of the weirdest shit you've been requested?
So the weird. Let me start with the weirdest thing. So the weirdest thing I think I've ever gotten, pretty nasty too. But some guy wanted me to on camera, like, with my legs above my head and with it. Yeah. So you can imagine that. Literally insane. I didn't do it because he wasn't going to pay me enough. But that was really, really, really weird request. So yeah.
Like, I just don't.
Just nasty.
I don't understand the world of like where weird shit like that turns people on.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, remember long time ago, years ago. I mean, I was a little girl when this came out, but 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's gonna make me vomit just thinking about it.
I know. But some people were super into that, you know.
I mean, what's weird is like I'm clearly judging, but I'm not judging when you want to do weird shit in the privacy of your own bedroom.
Yeah.
But once that gets online, we're like, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the shame of like
that's with you forever.
OnlyFans gets hacked. And then they're
and
like,
that's happened
oh,
to me before
Scott Groves loves watching women nude murder chickens. I don't know. I just thought I was like, what's the weirdest thing I could think of? But okay,
if it's
so
on the internet, it's bound to get leaked, or it's bound. You know, you just always have to watch out for those.
So wait,
things.
you got hacked?
I have got hacked. Yeah. So
tell me
it was
about
like
that.
a couple months ago. Oh my God, it just like happened out of nowhere. I got this like weird Cash App request. It was like for $100, and it was like haha, catch me if you can. And I'm like, what the hell, right? It was he requested me $100. Like I go on my OnlyFans and I can't log in. And I'm like, oh my God. So like I'm trying to log in. And I guess like the guy that requested that money from me on Cash App was in my OnlyFans account. And it was just like terrifying. The next day I was finally able to get in, but all the money I had in my account balance, like pending balance, it was gone. So whoever got into my account like took all the money that was in there. So, I mean, for the most part, I like to withdraw like every 1,000, 2,000 that gets put in my account. I like to withdraw it because I don't like a lot of money building up because things like that could happen.
Right.
But yeah, that one time I had like $1,000 in there, and he got into my account, took it all, had that transferred to his bank account. Never found out who it was, but I was able to.
How he got your password? Or anything?
I have no freaking idea. I don't know. But he was able to get in, and once I was able to get back in, I changed it to the most crazy password you could think of, and never had a hack since. But it was definitely terrifying.
Were you using
too.
like Lacey1234 as your password?
Something simple, but like it was crazy. It was just it was like how did he come up with that? You know?
Yeah.
But it was definitely terrifying too, not just because of the money, but like just he was in my account. He could see all the messages I sent in the DMs. Like he just had access to all my content.
Right.
So that was a little terrifying. But
Yeah,
I mean,
forget the $1,000. He probably downloaded tens of thousands of dollars of your like intellectual property.
Probably. I mean, I hope not. I hope he was just in it just for the money. But like, he could have had a field day with it, you know.
Right.
So who fucking knows? It was just I got back into it the day after. So luckily, it wasn't for a long period of time. But in a way, that day felt like a long time.
Yeah,
I was like,
it feels like a violation, right?
Yeah, I want my account back, you know. And so.
So I've got to ask, because like you seem pretty like level-headed about the fact of like, hey man, it's gonna be leaked. If it's out there on the internet, it lives there forever. Are you worried about one day like settling down or boyfriend, husband, kids? Like, are you worried one day you're gonna have like a 7-year-old be like, "Mommy, is this you?" Like
in ways, yes, but like it's not like I'm a porn star, you know,
Right.
and like I feel like I don't know. That is. I don't know. Sometimes I am worried, and especially like I am studying for my real estate license right now, and I do want to be a realtor as well. So when you said that about your wife, I'm like, same.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: wife is a realtor, not on OnlyFans. Just for all the weirdos that started looking for my wife.
But yeah, so obviously it's in the back of my head, but I guess I try not to worry about it too much. I don't know. I'm just young and I'm living, so I'm just enjoying the moment, I guess.
I mean, look, everybody I've ever met did some wild shit in their 20s, right? Every single one of them.
Yeah.
The difference was like when my friends were either partying out of their mind in the army, or my college friends that were doing very inappropriate stuff, or my very clean and sober, happy family men friends that were drug addicts in their 20s.
Wow.
The difference was there wasn't a camera on them 24/7.
I know.
And these days there's a camera on you 24/7, involuntarily, voluntarily, whatever. So it's like, it's kind of scary, but then I kind of think like, well, will everybody have so much baggage filmed from their youth that it'll just be like kind of anonymity through an abundance of information?
I mean, I would hope so. I would hope so.
Right.
Especially this generation. I feel like everyone's crazy. Like, they don't have time to worry about me. There's other people to worry about, you know? They'll forget about it in a couple years, I hope.
Yeah, just don't, you can never run for office, probably.
No, it's okay.
Because that guy who hacked your account, he's going to come up with something weird.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So tell me about the fans, you know, because there's this idea of, in my mind, of like the guy sitting in his mom's basement, you know, just a total loser. But I'm guessing, you know, do you ever watch that show Billions?
I don't think I've ever heard of it. No,
it's a wonderfully done show on Showtime, and one of the main characters, Paul Giamatti, he's like district attorney of the city of New York and whatnot, but he loves getting dominated.
Okay,
so I imagine some of these people that are into like financial domination, Findom, they're probably successful or high profile or normal functioning members of society.
Yeah,
so like
a lot of businessmen, like golfers, stuff like that, like people that are kind of successful and that have all this money and don't know what to do with it.
So from what you've seen from your fan base, like, do you have an idea of like what your run-of-the-mill fan is? Or
everybody's so different. Everybody wants different things. Like I've ran into people that want to be dominated and want to be drained, but I've also had people that want to try to get the most out of giving you the least. So, I mean, everybody is so different. I have like such a crazy fan base that it's like, I can't really even tell you what like a normal...
And how would you know if they were being open with you, right? Like, do you get a feel for, you know, Steve, who's 22?
Yeah.
Is he really like, you know, Sarah, who's 67 and just doesn't want to tell you that she's a angry old lesbian but loves watching you naked?
Yeah.
Like, do you get any feel of like, oh, this person's full of shit, or no, this is really Steve, who's 25 and lives in Ojai, California, and thinks that maybe he's gonna date me? Or?
Yeah, that too. But also just like people saying like, oh, I have like a 10-inch bit. Done, like saying all these like things. I'm like, you're full of shit.
That's a lie, by the way.
Oh yeah, almost definitely. And I've heard that multiple times, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely a lot of people are full of shit. I mean, you can't really believe everything you see on the internet. So don't really trust anybody.
have you ever met, or do you have an existing friendship / personal relationship with anybody who's a subscriber as far as you know?
A couple people from my high school was subscribed to me, you know, and they kind of told me like, you know, right when I first started, I had a lot of people from my high school subscribe. And they're like, a couple of my like DMs kind of came across like, can you guess who I am? Like I was in this class with you, like kind of just like making me guess. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Right. So yeah. I had a couple personal relationships with people that have subscribed to me. Yes. Cause a lot of them came from my high school. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And have you met anybody cold on there who you like build like a pen pal relationship with, and then you feel comfortable being friends with them on Instagram?
Yeah, kind of like my regulars, you know, people that have been with me from the beginning that are still with me, and it's like 3 years later. I have like maybe like 3-4 of my favorites. So yeah. And I feel like the most comfortable talking to them. So yeah, it's a nice little relationship. They know how I work. You know, if I don't post, they're not going to be mad at me. Like they understand, you know. So yeah, I have a nice couple relationships with a couple of them. Yeah.
And setting up for this, I was checking out your Instagram. I know you're in like Havasu all weekend.
Yes, I was. I was really, really far.
Awesome. And you're pretty open about your activity, what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you ever have any concerns for like, I mean, I'll just use the word safety, but do you have any concerns for like oh, some fan's going to show up at Lake Havasu and be like, hey, Lacey, it's me. I give you $20 a month. You owe me a date. Or, I mean, is there any weirdness like that?
I guess I never thought of it like that, but I've also thought like if I am posting that I'm away, of someone gonna like find my apartment and like, you know, like a long time ago, remember Lindsay Lohan and all those like famous people that got robbed because they would post like when they were out of the country, and then, you know, everyone knew where they lived. So they snuck in and they broke into their homes. Like that's, I guess, what I'm afraid of when I do post that I'm not home, that someone's gonna like find my apartment and try to break in while I'm not home. Not really so much they're gonna come track me down and stalk me, because I've never had that happen before. But that's something to think about. For sure.
It's funny. This is a weird connection, but I went to a conference or a little retreat with a guy, Jack Carr, who's a ex-Navy SEAL. Did a lot of like forward action stuff against Taliban people. And so although he's a very public figure and he now has a TV show and he's written a bunch of books, he's like, you know, my security, like people knowing where I am at all times is a little scary, and he's got a family and whatnot. So he was talking about how like on purpose, he delays all social media posting by about 3 days. So when he posts something like walking through the airport at Baltimore, that was like from like 3 days ago, so that nobody actually has, you know, intelligence about his current whereabouts.
And I've also done that too before too. Especially being a woman too. You know,
you're not a Navy SEAL? You weren't an ex-Navy SEAL?
No, but my dad was an ex-Marine.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So I grew up military family.
There you go. So maybe start doing that. Just post shit like 3 days later. Nothing live.
I know. I need to start doing that. Yeah.
All right, and we talked about the craziest thing, but what's your run of the mill garden like? Dude has like, hey man, I want to get something personal and spend $50.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I'll work around that. You know, maybe a nice little titty pic or something like that. You know, for like $50. You know, I'll work around with what you're willing to spend. Yeah, I'm pretty easy about that stuff, but I still have my standards high. You know.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. And is it all you? Are you doing 100% of the interaction?
Yeah. So, oh my God, for 2.5 years, I was just all me doing this all by myself. A couple months ago, I actually joined an agency, Chic Models. And so every so often they'll run my account. But other than that, like, I know a lot of girls that just have their accounts ran, especially the famous girls that make a lot of money and that are like big. You're not talking to them. You're talking to their management team. You know what I mean? But I like to still interact because, like I said, I enjoy doing this. Not a lot of people do. They just do it for the money, but I enjoy it. So I still post my own photos. I still send my own videos out in my DMs and stuff. But like sometimes when I'm busy, they'll like take over every so often and they'll like be messaging for them. So it like looks like they're talking to me. But for the most part, they are talking to me. But yeah, so I do have a management team that helps me out a little bit. So that's nice.
Yeah. So I gotta be careful about how I phrase this because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But I have a friend, I maybe have talked about this once on the podcast, who's a big, buff, scary jiu-jitsu practitioner. Will probably fight in MMA one day. He's like a badass.
Okay.
And I was talking to him. And I'm like, hey man, so like, what do you do for a living to like supplement training? He's like, you know, let's talk after practice. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder if he sells drugs at the clubs or something like that. I talked to him. He's like, well, I'm an account manager for a gal that's on OnlyFans.
Really?
She's here in Vegas. She's wildly successful.
Wow.
She has 4 dudes that work for her full time that basically run her DMs. And I'm like, so wait a minute, buddy. I'm like, you look at dick pics for a living? Like, because these guys are sending in their stuff. And, And he's like, yeah. He's like, basically, I get a base salary and then I get a commission on how much I can upsell them. So I just pretend to be her and be like, so did you want a pair of my dirty underwear for $250?
Oh my God. And these men are talking to these men.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm like, wow. And he's like, bro, not gay. I'm like, no, I get it, man. I'm like, a job's a job. And he's making more money doing that than he ever could working at, you know, Amazon warehouse or whatnot.
Damn.
So I was thinking to myself,
this field, it's like ridiculous amount of money.
It's a ton of money.
Oh my God.
And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how many dudes are pretending to be something they're not, thinking they're talking to this hot chick?
I know, which is kind of sad though.
Who's like not who she is. And then she's got guys responding for her. I'm like, oh, this is a whole new level of fakeness.
I know. And I try not to do too much of that because I mean, I wish I didn't give a fuck about anything, but I do, you know, and it just kind of sucks because I know damn well if I was in that position, I would be wanting to talk to the girl herself, you know? It's kind of a shitty world we live in, you know? But so that's why I do still interact and I have control of my OnlyFans. They just help me sometimes. But like you said, a lot of people are just like, they're fully in control and she has nothing to do with it. Yeah. You know?
So,
which is crazy.
So when you ran out of your initial base of like, you know, high school crushes and stuff that wanted to see you naked that never had a chance. How do you market now? Is it like is the Instagram the funnel that leads them to the link tree that leads them? So tell us how that works, like your thought process, especially now that you're working with like a professional modeling company. Shout out to Chic Models. Like what is the process for marketing Lacey?
Yeah. So, oh my God, there's so many ways to market yourself. So I market on Twitter. It's really big on Twitter. There's a lot of OnlyFans girls on Twitter. Instagram, like my Instagram
By the way,
story.
I learned this from Chris. I did not know that a huge percentage of Twitter is porn.
Oh my God, it's porn. Like porn. Like you would never see any of that stuff on Instagram. You like literally girls pussy out videos, like sex videos all over Twitter, like 10-second videos, kind of just like, oh, link in my profile to see the rest, but it's like all out there.
Just hardcore porn.
Hardcore.
I follow a bunch of like angry politicians and like weird motivational writers.
It's all about who you follow.
Yeah. So on my Twitter feed, I've never seen anything remotely pornographic. It's like a bunch of weird, prepper stuff and conservatives and libertarians and a few classical liberals.
Yeah.
So it's like
I see a lot of that stuff too. And then the next tweet I see porn.
And then you get porn. Yeah. So I guess Chris, the moral of the story is I can never search for porn on Twitter. It'll ruin my whole feed. Is that the situation? Chris does not want to answer.
Yeah, I declined to answer.
Okay, yeah. Let's just say Chris's Twitter handle is not actually his name for a reason.
Okay.
But okay, so Twitter and Instagram. How do you
and Reddit and oh my God, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram.
So you post on Reddit?
Yes, not as much as I should, but I do. Yes, and a lot of people do come from Reddit, so I should be posting on Reddit more. Yeah,
it makes sense.
And YouTube. A lot of people came from my YouTube. I haven't made a video in a really long time, but right when I started, I made 2, and it got like 40,000 views on those videos.
I've got a rock star editor over here. Just have him follow you around.
I know.
Chris
I need to hire him.
Chris is the least assuming guy ever. He happens to be a gay.
I might take him home with me.
Yeah, perfect. So there will be no threatening energy there. You're not his type, and he'll make awesome videos for you, man.
I believe it.
He'll make you just as much or more money than Chic Models.
Right?
Sorry, Chic Models. I'm selling you throwing you under the bus for an editor.
That's okay.
But
Scott can do it.
Yeah, Chris is up here at least 1 week a month from LA, so he can do one extra day for Lacey and come film video for you.
Please, Chris. I'll be waiting.
All right, perfect. So like, what does the funnel look like? Like, all right, I see some picture of you with your ass hanging out on Instagram. What's the thought process of the guy that goes from there to check your bio to be like, I saw something on your thing where it's like, hey, if you want to, you can pay my rent. Like, who the fuck just goes from your Instagram picture of your butt to like the link to like, yeah, this chick's pretty cool. I think I'll pay her rent.
Right. It's just insane. So, I mean, what goes along with the pictures? I mean, half of my Instagram posts, like that set of pictures that I posted for like Havasu, those are regular pictures, but like I also took exclusive ones, like me lifting up my shirt, panties to the side, posted that on the OnlyFans, but a lot of people don't really know that unless I post that on like my stories. Right. So I'll post like, something with the link like covering, if they click the link, they go to my page, subscribe, then they can see the photo of like it uncensored. Yeah. And but half of my Instagram posts that are up right now, I took exclusive pictures after the family friendly photos,
Got
so
it.
behind all those photos there's a nasty one on my OnlyFans. So
got it.
Yeah.
So for my own mental photography, every like PG to PG-13 rated photo that you post on your Instagram, there's an R or X rated version on your OnlyFans.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, $19.99 a month, folks.
I
You
know.
YouTube. What is your OnlyFans, by the way, handle or Instagram handle?
Yes, it's LaceSilk. Lace like the material and silk like the material.
Okay.
Lace for Lacey.
Obviously.
Like, my friends call me Lace. And silk just because I love silk.
Right.
I grew up loving silk.
That's your Instagram and your OnlyFans?
That's my Instagram is LaceyRumsey, first and last name, and then OnlyFans is LaceSilk. Yeah.
I feel like you should change your Instagram to LaceSilk as well.
I know I should, but that's my main Instagram, and so I also have a second Instagram for like sexy photos and other things like that, which is OfficialSilk Lace.
Official Silk Lace.
Yes.
We'll put all these up, Chris.
Yes.
Do you ever get banned, censored? Like, does Instagram ever come in?
I have once on Instagram. I already know kind of how to work Instagram, so I try, to keep it PG, but like I have been banned on TikTok and stuff. So
how are you banned on TikTok?
it's crazy, right? You see,
TikTok seems like a total whore fest.
It is, and
I won't even download it to my
worse.
phone.
I know, it's kind of scary.
I will not download TikTok to my phone because I'm like, one, I don't want the Chinese spying on me,
I know.
and two, it knows I'm like a middle-aged 40-year-old white guy.
It's gonna get you.
It'll just keep suggesting me shit that my wife doesn't want me to watch. Like I don't want that in my world.
Yeah, so you're smart for not downloading.
Yeah, no
it.
chance. We have a TikTok, right, Chris?
Do you? Yeah, I was gonna say you guys can probably do really well on these podcasts.
We have a podcast TikTok, but Chris manages everything because I literally don't even want it on my phone.
Wow.
So people,
Wow,
a couple of my friends who are mortgage people, they'll be like, "Dude, your fucking TikTok is up in my feed all day." I'm like, "Oh, funny story. I don't even know what's up. I have no clue." So shout out to Chris for more social media management.
Yeah.
All right, so you will post the picture with this link covering your nether regions or whatever, or your boobs. Like, subscribe here, and then do you have any insight to like how many people are clicking on that versus how many people are going to your OnlyFans page versus how many people are signing up?
Yeah. So, oh my God, I wish it was more than it was, but I mean, you could obviously see when you swipe up on your stories, you could see who's viewing it, you could see how many clicks there were.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, not everybody that views it is going to subscribe, sadly, so that's why you have to keep promoting yourself. But
do you have to have like 100 interactions to get one sign up, or 1,000 interactions?
No, maybe 1 to every 100,
Okay.
So, which is kind of sucky, but it's just, like I said, it depends on like the followers you have, the fans you have. Like you have to be successful on your social media to really like make a good amount of money, or just put in a lot of work. And when I first started, I was uploading every single day. Like I was so consistent, and I was always mad because I wasn't getting enough credit that I wasn't getting the credit that I deserved, because I was putting on this work. I thought my photos were top tier, and I still to this day, I feel like I deserve more credit than I actually get. But it all comes down like to the followers,
Right.
So, yeah.
And I did see a few of your photos seem very like traditional model settings, like especially when you went to LA, like you were not just like little selfies of you naked. It was clearly like a lingerie shoot, but it looked like it was in a studio with like a whole cadre of people. Like, what were those photo shoots? Are those through your agency, or were those for like a underwear line? Or
oh my God, which ones are you talking about? Because I mean, a couple were from.
I don't know. It just looked. It didn't look cheap. It looked like a real agency, like something you would see at like a GQ magazine.
Oh my
shoot
God!
Or
well,
something.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, my boss for my solar company, I'm with him a lot, and he shoots my photos for the most part. He has a nice camera. I have a nice camera myself. So other than that, like if someone else is not shooting for me, I shoot my own photos, and I've done this for years. So sometimes if you see a professional photo, I took it.
Nice.
but yeah, sometimes from the agency, sometimes from my boss. I don't know. I guess I'm just what's the word for it? I'm good in front of the camera. I have my friends like to say I'm, what's the word for it? Why am I blanking?
Photogenic.
Photogenic. Oh my God. Thank you.
So is there like, I don't mean to say this disrespectfully, but is there like real modeling in your future? Like, do you have in addition to chic models, is there sponsorship opportunities?
There's opportunities. I just don't think like I'm tall enough or like skinny enough to be an actual model.
Yeah, you're morbidly obese, clearly.
Oh my God, right. But you know what I mean? You always have to have the standard with that. But like, I just like looking sexy on Instagram. I guess you could say I'm a little Instagram model, but nothing too crazy. Like I'm just having fun taking these pictures and looking cute, So, and I like take pride in taking good photos and making everything like kind of look perfect and look good. So
are there people that have switched over? Like, are there people that have moved from the OnlyFans world to like, traditional modeling for magazine?
Probably.
Like
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know anyone personally, but most definitely. Yeah. They have a lot of opportunities that way, and then they'll probably get into something bigger, I mean, that sounds amazing. I would love to model and love to get into that field and that scene, but it just hasn't came my way yet,
And obviously OnlyFans not doing this for free. Are you comfortable telling us like what their cut is or what percentage they take?
Oh yeah,
off the
they
top?
take 20%. So if someone was to give me $100, I would only get 80.
20% off the top, and then maybe you lose like 1% or something when they transfer to your Cash App or your bank. Or whatever.
So I don't lose anything when they transfer it to the bank, but they take 20% and it's not taxed. So at the very end of the year, we have to report it and pay taxes on it. So you have to watch out what you spend, because you better make sure you have enough to pay the taxes at the end of the year. The first year I did my taxes, I think I made like $60,000 that year. Nothing too crazy, but like damn, pretty crazy. So, and then at the end of the year, I probably could have wrote off more. I mean, I wrote off like the clothes I had to buy, the distance I drove my car sometimes for photo shoots, stuff like that. I wrote off a lot of things. I could have wrote off more, but I ended up paying $6,000 in taxes. Yeah. So I just had to come up with that, you know, and luckily I had.
Kudos to you for paying your taxes.
Always. They'll get after you if you don't. But yeah, so, you know, luckily I had that money saved, but a lot of people I've heard, like girls like, oh fuck, like it's time to pay taxes. I'm like I don't have no money to pay it, you know? Yeah. Because who's gonna have just $6,000 laying around just to pay your taxes right away? But luckily I'm smart with my money and I saved, so I was able to pay them. But like, smart girl. It's crazy. It's crazy how much, you know. Yeah.
So I have to ask, because I'm sure this is not you. We talked about this off air before we came in to the studio. So not Lacey, by the way. Don't go hit her up for these services. No. But we talked about, definitely, you know, we're here in Vegas and we've got a house in LA. I know a lot of girls that, or I have heard of a lot of girls in LA that do OnlyFans. Yeah. I imagine it's pretty easy to start crossing that line into other things. So is there solicitations for meeting in person, sex work? Do you know OnlyFans girls that have moved into sex work, or girls that are in sex work that have moved into OnlyFans?
Yes, yes.
What's the crossover between those worlds from what you've observed?
So, I mean, I used to watch this girl. I'm not going to say her name, but I used to watch this girl on YouTube when I was a little girl, and she would always like post videos of like, oh, my acid story time, or like her doing drug, like story time, or like first time doing Molly story time. She was like so cool, you know? I just really liked her, her attitude, the way she spoke, everything. And then she moved to Vegas, and then she started like stripping and dancing. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so crazy watching her when I was a little girl like that. And then now she's stripping, and then she would like post videos of like her doing pole dances in her house and stuff. And then like slowly but surely she became like a porn star, and now she's like posting videos all over Twitter, and she's on Pornhub and stuff like that. So, I mean, so she was doing stripping, and then she made an OnlyFans, and then after that she like got into porn. So I saw her on like Pornhub, and she was posting videos of like gangbangs and stuff on Twitter. So that was really crazy to see. I didn't know her personally, but like I feel like in a way I kind of grew up with her because I would always watch her on YouTube. Yeah. So it was crazy to see that.
So
like,
she went from like a vlog to kind of like drug culture, rave scene, whatever, to like, oh, now you can see me naked, to
on
like
OnlyFans, and then that wasn't enough, so now she's doing porn. Yeah. Oh, so that was crazy. Yeah, that's the only one I know that did that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of girls do that as well. You know, sometimes they'll be in the scene, they're like, oh, I like this. Like, I don't have to do much for this money. Like, let's get into maybe something a little bit more like that could pay a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah, and porn obviously pays more, but it's a lot that comes with it. Do
you have any idea what porn pays in Vegas? I have no idea.
Oh my God, I have no idea. I have no idea.
All right.
I Chris, keep that away from me.
Put that in the agenda. We need to get a porn star to interview.
That would be really fun. Can I sit next and listen?
You can come co-interview. Find me the girl. There's got to be somebody in the OnlyFans world who you can make a connection with.
I'll try.
But, you know, I'm trying to think what I can say about this. I have a girlfriend who I was friends with in high school. She moved to Vegas to go to UNLV. Okay. And then like her freshman or sophomore year, her father, who was like her world, paid for everything, died suddenly. Oh no. And so she started stripping. And I remember having conversations with her where she's like, you know, I can't remember. She worked at one of these giant places that has like 200 strippers. And she's like, if you can keep your nose clean, meaning no drugs, no gambling, no prostitution that leads you down like a really dark path. She's like, if you can just do the stripping, in 3 years, you can get out of Vegas with $1 million. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's like, so by the time she graduated from college, she had no debt. I remember she owned a house up here. She had like $100,000 BMW. She had literally used it as networking. She was dating a guy who was like on an HBO show. Wow. And she like really kept her nose clean and now has a great normal kind of like Stepford wives, housewife situation. But she made it through on the stripping. But she's like, dude, I knew maybe in 3 years, I knew maybe a dozen girls that were able to avoid the drugs and the alcohol and all that stuff. So,
and that's hard, especially in that scene, you know, people offering you drinks, like, you know, it's so you got, you know, you're in there for like these crazy amount of hours, you know, so I guess it's hard. I mean, I can imagine it's hard to stay away from that stuff. So props to her.
Yeah. And I know it's not your world or your, you know, your interface with OnlyFans, but just in general, how do you feel living in Vegas, being slightly maybe dipping a toe in that world with OnlyFans and getting paid for nudes. What are your feelings on whether it's prostitution or pornography or whatnot? Like, how do you feel about that, either politically or emotionally or socially or ethically? Or
I mean, I feel like I'm an open book and I'm very open-minded to those type of things, especially being an OnlyFans girl for this long. So, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about it. You know, props to the girls that have the balls to go and do that, because not everybody is comfortable in their own skin or like care too much about what people think about them, that they're too scared to just do what they want to do. So props to those girls, like, do the damn thing. So that's kind of like my thoughts on it.
Do you think it should be regulated? Do you think because
I think it should be in certain ways, you know, and in certain ways, obviously, like prostitution itself, like it's dangerous, you know, but like if you want to do OnlyFans, if you want to strip and dance because you want to feel sexy, like do the damn thing. Right. Who gives a fuck what anybody thinks of you? Oh my God, I'm stuttering again.
So, you know, a lot of people, out, Chris. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Only like 8 people are watching now. A lot of people think that prostitution is legal in Vegas. It is not legal in Vegas. It is not legal, no. It's legal in like Pahrump and a couple weird outlying areas where they have traditional like Old West brothels. Yeah. But I tend to...
any county, I believe, with under... I don't know the number. It's like 800,000 people or 500,000 people.
Oh, interesting.
So in Nevada.
Wow. So the way that I look at it is like, I think prostitution is probably more dangerous in Vegas because it is illegal. But to your point, if it was regulated and if it was legal, it would probably be less dangerous for the girls because it would be more out there and less seedy. I don't know.
Right. And maybe more people watching out for them because they knew about it. Yeah. I don't know. It's just dangerous. I've actually never seen anybody on corners out here or anything. So that's a good thing, I guess.
So I have a weird, like, just second nature or like spidey sense about people. Yeah. And I remember sitting at the Wynn with my wife and I'm like, oh, hooker, prostitute, hooker.
Calling him out.
She's like, she's like, how do you know? I'm like, trust me, honey. I'm like, it's midnight. That girl's still walking normally in her heels. Yeah. She's by herself. She like just all the telltale signs.
Maybe she's meeting her sugar daddy.
Yeah. And sure enough, like we'd be sitting at the bar and the girl would go up to some mark and like try to hook up, and my wife would be like, you are a freak of nature that you can point this out. And I'm like, I just got a thing for human nature, man. I can tell who's a little bit out of place.
Oh my God.
So yeah, they don't work the streets here. They work the bars. They work
the casinos and the bars. That makes sense. Yeah. I've probably seen a lot of girls like that too. I guess my thoughts were like, oh, okay, they're probably meeting up with their sugar daddies, but I guess it probably would have been something different. Yeah. It could have been something different.
So what's the difference, right? Like prostitution, sugar daddy, like
there's a difference.
How would you define the sugar daddy dynamic?
Someone that wants to pay you for your time and take care of you financially.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know from experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens in exchange for the taking care of you?
It could be platonic. Not everybody wants something in return. Maybe it's just some men are just like kind of older and like lonely and have money, don't know what to do with it, and just like want someone to spend time with, want someone to do activities with, you know?
Like a real like they're paying for a best friend.
Yeah, kind of. You know, I mean, in the past, like I had somebody that just wanted to pay me for my time. You know, go to the gym with him, go out to dinner, paid for dinner. Yeah, anything, just like activities, you know, so they aren't alone doing these things. They have somebody to do it with, hot young girl, you know.
Would you ever consider dating somebody like that? Like if you met somebody on your OnlyFans who was like just a normal dude and like, hey, I came across your profile, I thought you're really good looking. Yeah. Like, would that ever progress to like, all right, yeah, like I could date this person, they're normal?
It depends. I mean, it's
impossible.
It's a possibility. I feel like, yeah, if they're attractive, if they're normal and not creepy and weird, and if we met and we clicked, and who knows, you know, never say never, but like. No.
Never say. Do you have a boyfriend?
No, but I am seeing somebody at the moment. But nothing. Yeah.
Nothing serious.
Well, kind of serious, but no title, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man. He does everything and more for me, so it's nice.
It's nice. So how does he feel about it? Like, I would not be okay, obviously, with my wife or previously my life girlfriends. I'm probably a little bit of a jealous person. Like, does that cause some...
Everybody is in their own ways, whether like they like to admit it or not. Yeah.
Totally. Does that create a weird dynamic, or has there been...
A little bit, yeah, especially in the past, too. Right when I first started it, I was talking to this guy a little while after, so I already had it at the time. And at first, he tried to be okay with it. He was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then as our relationship progressed, like he was just like, I guess I just can't deal with it. Like, I hate the fact that you know, that you do this. And he just like could never let it go. And then at the time I was moving to Arizona. So like it was a whole thing. So we broke up and everything, but that was his reasoning too, you know? And then like my second boyfriend, only ever had 2 boyfriends, but my second ex, he couldn't, at the start of our relationship, he was okay with it. And then as relationship progresses, I guess they just like realized, damn, I guess I just don't like this, you know? And so he didn't like it either. And now this one, I love him. I care for him. I want him to be happy. You know, I don't want to make anyone upset, but like, this is what I've been doing for years now. So you're going to either accept me or you're not, you know, but much respect to him. Like, I'm not going to like, you know, like how girls say like, oh my God, no man's gonna tell me what not to wear. You know, to a degree, like I'm gonna wear what the fuck I want to wear, but like I'm definitely gonna try to respect you as much as I can, you know. But like still, I'm my own person, you know. So I don't know.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I dated a girl in my 20s who was probably in college. Maybe she was like 6 or 7 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And like I was not mentally okay with the fact that she was going to be a cop. Like as our relationship started getting more serious, I was like, oh, like she's a very driven gal.
Yeah.
She wants to be a cop. She's actually one of the, I think she's the youngest detective promoted to like the homicide unit in LAPD. She's awesome. She's a great person.
And what was your problem with it? Like
I was just like, dude, I don't want to have a wife who hangs out with a bunch of alpha males that are trying to bang her all day long. Like I was in the military. I had so many friends that were cops and firemen. Like I just know that environment. Yeah. And I'm like, the divorce rate is huge. The cheating rate is huge. There's like all kinds of weirdness. Like, and I was just like, as we started to get more serious and I started to meet her family and we were becoming closer, I was like, if I'm really being honest with myself, like I'm not strong enough mentally, and like I'm enough of a jealous person that I know myself. I wouldn't be able to date a woman who's like constantly in that alpha male arena, just knowing that like every guy's trying to sleep with her.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
That's probably not true about every guy, but like enough of them are douchebags because I know men. That I was like, I don't know.
Wow. And that was the reason why you ended things? Was that literally the only reason?
I'm sure there's other reasons, but like that's the one that sticks out in my mind is like, oh yeah, I don't think this is going to work long term.
Yeah.
Yeah. So weird.
That's insane. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. So if I wasn't happily married, I would be the absolute wrong target demographic to date an OnlyFans girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you would not like that. Yeah. I don't think you would stand a week.
Yeah. So tell me what I'm interested, since you've signed with this modeling agency, like what do they do? Do they give you a content calendar and recommend like a marketing plan?
They do.
Like what do they do?
Yeah, so it's like a Google Drive. And so every week they have like a new task for me to complete, you know, like 10 new everyday photos, 10 new Instagram photos, 10 new Reddit photos, 10 new titty photos, 10 new ass photos, you know? And so they have like certain things that I have to like
Havasu must have been the ass photos, right?
Yes, you already seen.
Ass photos were clearly the gist of the Havasu trip. Yeah. As I was doing research for this podcast, I was like, okay, yeah.
I worked hard for this booty.
I even showed my wife. I was like, hey, this is who we're interviewing tonight. She's like, oh, cool. She's like, you know, whatever.
I love how open she is to it.
Yeah, no, I think she came out and was going to make you a margarita.
She was. She was.
She's like, do you guys need to get drunk or something before the podcast? I'm like, no, we'll be fine, honey. And she was like, all right, I'll see you in the morning.
I love that. I love that.
She's the best. She
sounds like the best.
She, for a very traditional Hispanic girl, and I know I'm generalizing, and I know I'm making a huge stereotype, she does not have a jealous bone in her body.
Wow.
And my ex-girlfriend, who was very Hispanic, every bone in her body was jealousy. It's like, you know, it was constantly who's on your phone? Who just texted you? I'm like...
I feel like that's where the insecurities are peeking through, you know? When if someone's like consistently jealous about everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
so tell me, I don't really know how to phrase this other than to just say it. What's it like being an attractive girl in Vegas?